Welcome to The Art of Being Unstoppable, the podcast where women from every walk of life come together to break barriers, embrace their power, and live life on their own terms. I'm your host, Vicki McDougall, and each week we explore inspiring stories, actionable strategies, and empowering conversations to help you step into your confidence, amplify your voice, and create a life without limits. No matter where you are on your journey, this is your space to grow, thrive, and become unstoppable. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. I'm so happy to have you here today, listening to us. I have Julianna again with me today, this beautiful, lovely soul. Thank you for being here today, Julianna.
Thank you for having me.
We have just thought about, we've been talking about a lot. We work together on a daily basis, and we've been talking a lot about grief. We've talked about grief throughout the podcast as well, but being a newer, like more closer to the beginning of 2026, um, you know, we all have these expectations of what this life is going to be like in the new year, right? But sometimes grief hits some of us so hard that we can't get through it. And we
Mhm.
don't know where to go. We don't know where to start. We don't even know where we're going to take our next step, or even if we're going to be able to get up tomorrow morning.
Right.
So, um, Julianne and I had thought that if we could share a little bit about grief and how I've handled it, how you've handled it, how we've gotten through some of the hardships and the hard times that we've both had,
Yeah,
that it may help someone else listening out there.
100%. And like you said, the hardest and craziest thing about grief is that I think some people think that hopefully, they'll work through it right away, but it's an ongoing progress. It takes its time, and it's okay because nothing needs to be rushed.
No,
You take your time with it. You take your time with getting through that kind of feelings, because they're big feelings.
they are big feelings. And a lot of times when we're young, don't cry. You're good. Put,
Yeah.
and I say this to my grandchildren, and this is really something that was pointed out to me is put your tears away, right? And it's like, no, feel your feelings.
Right.
That is the first thing that I want to say is feel it.
Right.
Yes, you're going to be overwhelmed. Yes, you're going to have 100 things that need to be done. Plus your life as it was before you had that loss is still there. So you still have to do everything you had to do before. So not only are you having to do what you had to do, you're now feeling this feeling of, I don't want to even go on. I don't
Yes.
even know how I'm going to cope today.
Right.
That's okay, but you need to feel the feels. As hard as that is, oh my goodness, and it's not easy, and I'm telling you, it isn't. But I have talked to many people that have lost people, and whether it be parents, children, friends, cousins, spouses. I know somebody that's lost each one of those things. It never gets any easier, and each pain is pain.
Right.
Not one is worse than the other, not one is easier than the other. They're all pain. And it's all in allowing yourself to feel all of that pain that you can get through that pain.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's what makes speaking to you about the topic so extraordinary, right? Because I know, you lost both your parents pretty close together, which is a lot to take on as one
Yeah.
person. That is a lot to
Yeah.
go through. And I think a lot of people, have experienced many different things. But my question to you, for someone who's, dealt with grief as well, um, how do you move past it, or do you move past it? Do you keep it with you? Do you let it go? How did it work for you?
I think in the beginning, I was so busy taking care of everything that I didn't
Yeah.
feel. I didn't have time to feel. And when I was at the house, I'll be honest, I stuffed my emotions. I did.
Mhm.
I would go to bed. I would go back, go to the house because I stayed in my parents' house, my family home that I lived in since I was 2 years old. I
Right.
stayed there. It was already decorated for Christmas, which my mom was a Christmas person. My parents died within 2 months of each other. And I had to travel back and forth from city to city, from being home, taking care of my duties here in my home and my clients and everything that I was creating here. And then would go there. right?
Right.
So I was balancing 2 different worlds, and by sitting in that home and looking around at all of the memories and all of the remembering the laughter, remembering the tears, and just hearing it all and being there with it, it was overwhelming. And now I look back and I think I needed to do that, and I'm
Mhm.
very happy I got to. I had a great support system, I'm not gonna lie either. I did meet Tina shortly thereafter, actually the beginning of 2022, so that was lovely because she really did help me a lot. Not being alone is key. Allowing those people that ask you, "Do you need anything?" Some people don't know what to say.
Yeah.
They don't. "I'm so sorry,"
Right.
because they don't know what to say. "How are you doing?" "I don't know how I'm doing." And, and then you have these expectations of people that you think are gonna be there, and they never show.
Oh
And
god.
then you're mad, and that's another like, it's just layers upon layers of feelings that you're feeling. And I think I watched a reel with Nicole Kidman, and she had talked about losing her mom, and she said grief doesn't just come when the death comes. It doesn't just happen. It happens at the most inopportune times. Like, I've
Mhm.
been driving and crying the whole way because I'm thinking of my mom,
Right.
because all of a sudden I feel her and I remember something and the grief hits me. Well, if I didn't allow myself to feel it, then I'm not dealing with it. I'm not
Mhm.
coping with it. I'm just, pushing down the inevitable. It's going to come back up. It is. It's going to come back up. You can't suppress those emotions. You just can't,
Right.
because then you're just going to boil over,
Yeah.
right? You need
That's
to feel the feels. And it is a process. And I can't tell you it's going to take a week, a month, a day, 5 years. I don't know. I don't know because I'm still grieving. But I do know what helped me the most was allowing myself the grace to grieve,
Mhm.
giving myself that time and allowing myself to, you know, forgive my parents for some of the unfinished business that we didn't, you know what I mean? Like, there was things that, you don't talk about and maybe you were angry with, or maybe you feel bad because you said something that you shouldn't have said. And,
Right.
you know, apologize. Ask them for forgiveness and
Mhm.
forgive them as well. Because forgiveness doesn't mean that they were right and you were wrong, or you were right and they were wrong. It just means that you're just allowing it to go.
Yeah, and I think like you said, forgiving yourself and just, um, working through it and taking your time, when my grandmother passed away and it was, 2022, also it was during, still kind of COVID kind of
Yeah.
thing going on and still everybody trying to adjust to everything going on, and it was a really odd time, but it was also a very odd time in my life. I had a lot
Yeah.
of personal things going on, and when she passed away, there was kind of this, like, guilt that I had on myself that, like, wow, for those, like, few years, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. I didn't know really what was going on with her. I didn't realize how bad she was getting. I was,
Right.
um, dealing with my own stuff, so
Yep.
I didn't really give her the attention and need and care she needed. And there's kinda that kinda guilt in it, but I look at it like, you know what? Because of the woman that she was and who she became as a person and the
Yeah.
beautiful individual she was, she would never hold resentment and anger towards that. And I
And
shouldn't.
you can't either. And because again, if we knew, if we all had an arrival and a departure date, we would all
Right.
be okay. Well, if that's the day that I'm not going to be here anymore, then, and
Right.
then we could do all the things that we wanted to do and say all the things that we wanted to say, but that's not life. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So, you know, moving forward for me, I have really been conscious of staying present in the moments,
Mhm.
um, allowing myself, if I need to, that moment in the morning where I'm like, wake up and I'm feeling really overwhelmed and sad. I'm allowing myself that time to feel it. Yes,
Yeah.
I may have a list of things that I have to do, but I am still going to take that time in the morning or whenever it hits me.
Right.
That 5 minutes to talk myself down, to just say to myself what I need to say, to, eh, maybe I'll journal, maybe I'll do, but I try to not just say, "Okay, never mind." I try to acknowledge the feeling. I try to name it and say, "Okay, Vicky, why are you feeling like this? What's this? Where is this coming from?" Because only I know the answer to that. You can't
Right.
tell me why I'm feeling this way. I can't tell you why you're feeling that way.
Right. Right.
And you were at a place with when you lost your grandmother, you had your own shitstorm,
Yeah.
and that you were trying to deal with, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't something that you could, so being in it, for you to then feel guilty on top of that,
Yeah.
it just slows down your own process.
Oh, it did, and even I think about a week and a half later, my cat, I had to put down my cat too. So it was just one thing after another. And I think, as an adult, um, there's so many wheels, so many things
Oh,
moving at once that even the day, my grandma passed away, the very next day I went to work because I asked, can I have a day off? And they said no. So I went right back to work. I didn't take any day off or anything like that. I just was right back at work. And I think I look at it now and kind of reflect on it like, wow, like, kind of like I said to you before about the grind and hustle. It's not worth it. It's not worth it when you miss those important parts of your life that you are meant to be there for. It
yes.
is not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. I should have been there, but I can't be mad at myself now. There was a lot going on.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
it's like you kinda look at it like, unfortunately, and like you said, it kind of delays your kind of progress when it comes to actually, like, grieving. So it did. So now even at, this point 4 years later, just like with you, I'm still kind of going through the motions. I still
Yeah.
kind of feel it heavy. It still just comes up randomly where I'm like, "Oh, man, like, I remember this and I remember that," and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. You're
That's true.
supposed to miss people. If
Yes.
you miss someone, that means that, you really love them. Love was really there, and that's a really good
Right.
feeling to
That's
have, right?
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely, and there's nothing wrong with missing someone.
Yeah.
There isn't. Like, I'm in Florida, I haven't seen my husband in a week, and when I get home, he'll be gone, so I won't see him for almost, well, it'll be over 2 weeks since I've seen my husband, and it's like, I miss him. Yes, we can FaceTime and all of that, which is
Right.
wonderful, but I'm not going to sit here and feel bad because I'm missing him and not be present with my son here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where we have to remember, is your grief taking over so much that you're not present to what you really have still? And that's what I really tried hard not to allow myself to go down that spiral
I
and that
did it.
rabbit.
I
Yeah,
did it.
it's hard.
For a very long time. And I think, something to say to a lot of, people
Yeah,
going through grief, sometimes you don't realize that you're actually going through it, and sometimes you don't realize that the
yeah,
decisions and the things that you're taking on at that moment could be a reflection of that grief and that pain that you're feeling. I didn't realize, when I was younger, I lost a friend when I was younger. I didn't realize that there was grief in it. I thought, okay, I'm young, whatever, this happened.
yeah,
Okay, I'm in school, there's
yep, yep,
boys, girls, things going on, friends, family, like, I'll be okay, right? I didn't realize some of the decisions and some of the movements I was making at that point were a reflection of that grief and that pain I was feeling in those
yes,
moments. And
absolutely,
now at
absolutely.
30 years old, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's what I was doing." I was making those decisions and making those choices based on the pains that I was feeling. I didn't even
Well,
realize.
and that journey, Juliana, is your journey. It's
Yeah,
your journey. It's not mine. It's not anyone else's. That's yours. And the whole purpose of our journey is to learn along the way.
yeah,
And you learned a lot about yourself in that time,
right,
right? And if those things that happened to you continued to happen again and again and again, you didn't learn the lessons that you were supposed to learn.
yes, yeah,
And you have. I know you have because I know you personally, and we know each other very well, and but I know that you continue to work on that,
right,
just as I do. I continue to talk about it and to keep them alive. At Christmas, my mom is front and center.
Mhm.
She is front and center at Christmas because that was who she was. So I don't want that to ever not be the way it is,
Yeah.
right? I want to be able to, and I also want to be able to help people realize that the person that has left this world would not want you to sit in it and hold on to all of the past and not continue to make memories for yourself in your life. It's
Yeah.
not doing them a disservice by you continuing to live your life. It really isn't.
But I think the question that you could answer for people watching is how do you not stay stuck? Right? Because I think sometimes I've met people that kind of
Um,
associate their worth based on that person, right? So once that
mhm.
person's gone, they
Yep,
feel like, "Well, I'm
yep.
not worth anything anymore. This person's not in my life." So how does one overcome that and work through that and realize that they are worthy of good things as well?
I think I don't know what you believe in. I don't know what people believe in, but I believe that they're with me. I believe that my mom and dad are with me all the time. I believe that they are cheering me on and saying, "You got this, girl. Keep moving." I hear them, I feel them. I remember things that they've said in the past, and I remember things that we've talked about. And, I lost my grandfather when I was 14 years old. He was the most important person in my whole when I was 16, pardon me, the most important man in my life because my dad worked so much.
Right.
And I still know he's with me
Mhm.
because I think we have to remember that there is no right or wrong way to go through it. There isn't. And there is no answer that I can give to anyone. This is how you have to do it or you won't get
Yeah.
through this. I think the answer for me was feeling them and knowing that I know that they wouldn't want me to sit here and not continue living and not give to my children and love my children and be there. And because
Mhm.
that's as a family what we were all about.
Right.
That's what we did as a family together all the time as we were together. We created memories. We did things together. The love was there. And, you know, life is for the living and we need to live it. And there's people in our lives that are still here living their lives and life still goes on. And that's one thing that people forget is everybody's there when it first happens. What can I do? What can I do? But and then as each day goes by, less and less people are
Right.
reaching out. But that's okay because as for me, I have no problem giving you a call and saying, I just need you to listen to me right now. I just need to vent. I just need a committed listener to listen to where I'm at and how I'm feeling.
Right.
Don't keep it inside. I think that is the only key that I could give anybody would be share how you're feeling. Yell if you need to, scream if you need to, cry, dance, do whatever makes you release some of that.
Mhm.
Do it.
Right. And be vulnerable with
Be
your struggles.
vulnerable.
Don't
Say
be
it.
scared. Yeah.
Because, I know that one person listening to this podcast, hopefully more, but if at least if one person listening to this podcast gets something from this, then the grief that I've endured, it's helped someone else.
Right.
And I believe that that's the truth. That's just my truth. It doesn't have to be the truth, but as a stylist for all the years that I've been working behind the chair and now as a coach being with people one-on-one and in my group sessions, I believe that when I can help someone else by my experience and let them just feel a little bit of that and realize maybe they didn't have to go down the road so hard. Maybe they could take just one thing from it and get one little bit of gold and it helps them get through something. Then I've done what I needed to do. And what happened to me was because I needed to help someone.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. I think everybody always has that kind of higher power that they
Yeah.
just don't realize that they have yet,
Yeah.
and sometimes it takes those obstacles and those challenges to make you realize, what you're meant to do. And
Yeah.
I think that's really what happened with you.
I do too. And I believe that everything happens for a reason. Like if I hadn't have had my salon, like and had my clients, I helped them go through, like, people would tell me things that they wouldn't tell anyone else.
Right.
I knew about marriages and divorces and pregnancies and whatever's more first before anybody else in a lot of the
Right.
cases. And they felt that they could come to me and talk to me because I was always open and honest too. I was vulnerable.
Right.
Being vulnerable with and open and honest allows other people that feeling of I can vent too.
Yeah. That's why I'm so comfortable with you.
Exactly.
You're
Right? Because and
great.
it's true. We just, and that's what I believe. Like the people that come into our lives are here for a reason. I am a true believer in everything happens for a reason.
Right.
So my grief and my hardships and my whatever it is because I get to pay it forward to someone else and help them get through it, even if it's just a little bit.
100%. And you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course. Of course.
I know it's not easy, and I know this is a hard subject, and I'm really proud of myself for not crying through the whole thing because I really could feel the tears, but I do wanna say this, you're never alone, and I don't know if you believe it or not, like I said, I know that my parents are with me, and that gives me the strength to keep moving forward and keep creating what I'm creating, and I believe that I can help my kids see what's possible for them as well, even with despite the loss. And I'm not strong for everyone else anymore. I'm strong for me
That's
first.
right.
And that was key. That I think maybe was one of the things that I really wanted to speak about, as well as knowing that I needed to find my strength from within myself to
Mhm.
be able to cope with this myself.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the most important pieces because, you can't really give much to others if you don't really understand your direction just
Mhm.
yet.
No, no,
Yeah.
you're right.
I'm proud of
Thank you,
you.
Juliana, for being here.
I'm proud
Thank
of you.
you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you everyone for listening today, and I hope you help if this helped you a little bit, let me know. I really want some feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. Feedback's always welcomed, and I thank all of you for listening, and until next time, you have yourself a beautiful day. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. Remember, your story matters, your voice matters, and your power is limitless. If you love today's conversation, subscribe, share it with the women in your life, and leave a review to help more women discover their unstoppable selves. I'm Vicki McDougall, and I'll see you in the next episode, because your journey to unstoppable starts now.